Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. This is going to be a review of last night's edition of Dynamite, which was from the Fifth Third Arena in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I know the Swerve Show, awesome guy here on YouTube. If you watch his videos, you might see me when he does his reviews. You might see me pop up in the chat while the live stream is going. So he was there in attendance last night. He did a video after the show, little video after the show of him being in the arena. But Dynamite last night, after coming off of a perfect, awesome show in All Out that we saw on Sunday, this was a good Dynamite last night. And we saw Malachi Black versus Dustin Rhodes. You know, Malachi Black still targeting the Nightmare family, and Dustin wanted this match with Malachi Black. We saw Powerhouse Will Hobbs. He ended up taking on Dante Martin. Ruby Soho made her Dynamite debut, taking on Jamie Hayter, which Ruby Soho made her debut at All Out in the Women's Casino Battle Royale. She was the Joker. And we saw a trios match. FTR and Shawn Spears, they ended up taking on John Silver, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson of the Dark Order. And in the main event, we saw MINORU Suzuki versus JON MOXLEY. And this came to be at All Out when MINORU Suzuki ended up coming out, got in the ring with Moxley. They started going at it for a little bit. And so the match was made official there. The overall Dynamite was a good show last night. But let's jump right into the review. And we had Taz on commentary last night. He was filling in for Excalibur, so it was Taz, Tony Schiavone, and Jim Ross. Jim Ross on commentary said that the reason why Excalibur wasn't on commentary last night was because he was getting married. So congrats to Excalibur on that. But Dynamite opened up last night with Dustin Rhodes versus Malakai Black. Dustin won this match with Malakai after Black has been targeting members of the Nightmare family. And in 2 weeks, we're going to begin the rematch with Malakai Black and Cody Rhodes at Arthur Ashe Stadium at Dynamite Grand Slam. And this was a pretty decent match here. We all know who was going to win the match. But the match started off with Dustin swinging away at Black. And we had him deliver some punches to Black in the corner. Dustin delivered a release German suplex and an elbow drop. He ended up sending Black out to the floor. So we had both Dustin and Black. They were battling near the timekeeper's table. And we had Dustin end up getting suplexed right through the table. And the crowd was chanting, "Holy shit." Black ended up going back into the ring. And he took the top turnbuckle pad off. So Black was still continuing to beat up on Dustin. He ended up getting Dustin back into the ring. He ended up blocking in a heel hook, and Dustin ended up getting to the ropes, breaking up the heel hook. You know, Black breaking up the heel hook. So Dustin was trying to fight back on Malakai Black, but Black still kept chopping him down at his leg, at Dustin's leg. So it was back and forth between them. Dustin laid a running lariat to Black, and he delivered a spinning power slam. He went for the cover, and Black ended up kicking out at 2. Dustin started delivering some punches in the corner to Black. Black ended up slipping out. He ended up kicking Dustin right in the back of his knee. So we had Black delivered a running knee strike to Dustin. He went for the cover, and Dustin ended up kicking out at 2. So Black then went under the ring, and he retrieved Cody Rhodes' boot that he left there a couple of weeks ago after he ended up defeating Cody. So Black then threw Cody's boot to Dustin, and he kept smiling. Dustin ended up getting back up. He started throwing some strikes to Black's midsection. He ended up hitting the Code Red, which he went for the cover, and Black ended up kicking out at 2. Dustin then ended up trying to go for the Bulldog, but Black ended up sending Dustin face first into the exposed turnbuckle. And Black then delivered the spinning heel kick, which Dustin ended up botching because usually when Black does the kick, Black ends up getting them in the face, and Black ended up getting Dustin in the back. So Black ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Malachi Black ended up winning the match. Obvious he was going to win it. So, but overall, it was a decent match. Black still targeting the Nightmare family, and of course, in 2 weeks, we're going to begin the rematch with him and Cody Rhodes at Arthur Ashe Stadium for Dynamite Grand Slam, which that's going to be another good match right there. The crowd's going to be hot there in Queens, so I'm looking forward to it. And then we saw the Lucha Brothers and Alex Abrahantes. They were cutting a promo. They're coming off of their win at All Out in the Steel Cage match, where they end up defeating the Young Bucks for the World Tag Team titles, which that was the best match of the night. That was match of the year candidate for me. That match, go back and watch that Steel Cage match. Awesome match from beginning to end. And seeing Phoenix do that crossbody off the top of the cage was a great moment right there in the match. Oh, that match had a lot of good, great moments also. But if you guys haven't checked out that Steel Cage match that we saw it All Out, definitely go check that match out. Awesome, perfect match there. Perfect cage match. So Lucha Brothers were showing off the World Tag Team titles. Penta ended up saying that the title cost them blood, sweat, and tears. He ended up saying that anyone who is willing to suffer can try and take them away from them. Take the titles away from them. So that was that. So Lucha Brothers coming off hot after their Steel Cage match at All Out. Just, like I said, I can't explain that match anymore from what I said. It was just an awesome, perfect cage match. Great wrestling in that match. And then we had Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston was talking about his match against Miro at All Out for the TNT Championship, which kicked off the show. He ended up saying that they went at it like 2 men at first. And then Miro had to use a low blow to help him win the match. So Miro then ends up mentioning his bride, of course, talking about CJ Perry, a.k.a. Lana. So you might be seeing Lana soon in AEW. So Miro ended up mentioning that. He ended up saying that he'll offer up Eddie Kingston's broken bones to his God. So that is what both Eddie Kingston and Miro had to say. Going to be getting a rematch with them for the TNT Championship. And then we had CM Punk end up coming out. CM Punk came out, big ovation as always from the crowd. So Punk ended up talking about his match with Darby Allin at All Out, and also his future. Punk ended up thanking Darby Allin and Sting, and also the fans, for what we saw at All Out. Punk ended up saying that he wasn't sure what was going to happen, but it was like riding a violent bike, and that he's back on the bike. So we had the crowd end up chanting to Punk, "You still got it," which, he did good at All Out. He showed a little ring rust there, but as the match progressed, he got good. He got much better and very good. So that ring rust had to come off a little bit on him as his match with Darby Allin started. Because of course, Punk hasn't competed in the ring in 7 years. So he had to show signs of ring rust there for a little bit. So Punk ended up hyping up the main event of Dynamite, which was Moxley and Suzuki. So Punk ended up pointing out Linda, or as he referred to as Aunt Linda, who was the woman who raised Brian Pillman Jr. So he had a crowd chant of Linda, and they were sitting ringside. So Punk ended up giving a shout out to Ruby Soho and Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson for showing up to All Out. Which of course, Adam Cole appeared, made his debut at the end of the main event, and also Bryan Danielson. So Punk ended up mentioning the first person he texted after his match was his wife, AJ Lee. So Punk ended up saying that he might just leave it up to the fans for who he should face next. So then Taz ended up getting on the mic. He got up from commentary, got on the mic. Punk ended up saying, out of respect, he'll let Taz talk. But Punk was like to Taz, don't interrupt me again. So Taz ended up saying that he's tired of this bullshit love fest. And he ends up telling Punk not to mention anyone from Team Taz. And Punk was like, I didn't mention any names. I didn't mention any names from Team Taz. So Taz ended up responding that he's been saying their names in radio interviews and on social media because Punk is all over the place. So Punk was like, oh, send Starks, send Hook, send me Hobbs. So you had Hook and Hobbs on the stage. And then Punk was like, beat me if you can. Survive if I let you. So Punk ended up saying that because it's a throwback to Taz's catchphrase. So it's good that Punk ended up saying that. So then Punk ended up hugging Linda at ringside. He ended up fist bumping fans, and he ended up walking to the stage. And that was how the segment ended. But it was a good, enjoyable segment from Punk. You know, coming off of his match with Darby Allin at All Out. So it looks like Punk's next guy, who knows, it might be Hook, might be Ricky Starks, or Hobbs from Team Taz, as what they're setting this up for. So it looks like Punk is going to be facing either one of those guys from Team Taz. So overall, it was a good segment. Really enjoyed it. Then we had Santana and Ortiz. They were cutting a promo. They're saying that they're ready to shift their focus to the rest of the tag team division. Santana ended up saying that now that they've moved on from FTR, they are going to climb the ladder, and that we're going to be the best, which Ortiz ended up yelling out. So that was what they had to say about Santana Ortiz. Moving on to another team in the tag team division. See how that goes. You know, Santana and Ortiz, both very entertaining. They're great in the ring. So then we went backstage, and Tony Schiavone was interviewing Ruby Soho. So Ruby ended up saying that she offered an open challenge because she didn't want anyone to think she got lucky at All Out. So then we saw Britt Baker and Rebel and Jamie Hayter. They ended up showing up. And Britt Baker was wondering why we're spending airtime on the flavor of the week. So Soho ended up telling Tony Schiavone that she and Britt Baker go back a long time. And that she actually helped break Britt Baker in. So Ruby ended up telling Britt Baker this is now her block. So Baker then ended up telling once they get through with her, she'll be going back to catering, a place she's been the last 4 years, course, taking jabs too when Ruby was in WWE as Ruby Riot. So Ruby Soho ended up telling Tony Schiavone, I know she's your girl, but I'm going to whoop her ass. So there you go. That was what Ruby had to say. So then we had Powerhouse Will Hobbs versus Dante Martin. This was a good match here. Dante Martin ended up getting into the ring. He ended up getting immediately ran over by Hobbs. Dante ended up trying to get in some shots. He ended up looking to go for a springboard crossbody, but he was caught by Hobbs in midair. But Martin ended up getting out of that. Dante Martin delivered a backflip around Hobbs to avoid him. He then delivered a drop kick to Hobbs, which sent Hobbs out to the floor. So Dante Martin ended up going for a suicide dive, but Hobbs ended up catching him, and Hobbs ended up throwing Dante Martin into the ring post. So he then ended up sending Martin into the corner. And then we hear Hobbs end up shouting out, CM Punk, huh? So Hobbs was yelling. He ended up launching Dante Martin again into the barricade. Both of them got back into the ring. Hobbs continued to beat Dante Martin down. And Hobbs then ended up bringing down his knee pad. He delivered a knee drop to Dante Martin's sternum. So we had Dante Martin end up looking to go for some kicks. He ended up getting Hobbs out to the floor. So he ended up looking to do a suicide dive out to the floor, but Hook was on the apron. Hook ended up stopping Dante Martin. So Dante Martin ended up flying. He ended up leaping over Hook. He ended up dropping down on Hobbs, which was a nice spot there in the match. Because Hook ended up ducking, and that's when Dante Martin ended up taking out Hobbs on the floor. Like I said, awesome, nice spot there in the match. So we had Dante Martin end up delivering a couple of kicks to Hobbs' head. He then delivered a springboard moonsault, which he landed on his feet. And then we had Hobbs end up delivering a spine buster to Dante Martin. Went for the cover, and there you go. Hobbs ended up winning the match. Overall, it was a good match. Entertaining match from Hobbs and Dante Martin. And then we had Dan Lambert. Dan Lambert ended up saying that AEW is now bringing in every skinny little dork to cover up the truth. Lambert ended up saying that you may think AEW is the hottest thing going and tricking the fans, but the truth can't be hidden forever. He ended up saying two of the best in the company are Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. So Lambert invited any two members of the locker room to take out Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. He ended up saying that he looks forward to shutting up everyone so he doesn't have to hear that AEW chant ever again. So that was what Dan Lambert had to say. Dan Lambert behind Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. So he's probably building Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, up, getting them over. So that was what Lambert had to say. So then we went to Matt Hardy backstage. Matt Hardy ended up saying that he's sick of Orange Cassidy running his fingers through his hair, and that he is going to shave Cassidy's hair. So Cassidy, it ended up coming to Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy ended up saying, Matt Hardy wants to cut my hair? Whatever. So there you go. It's now setting up for a hair versus hair match. Orange Cassidy versus Matt Hardy. We're going to be ending that after what was seen here. So hair versus hair match is coming. So then we had MJF. MJF ended up making his way out to the ring. He came out along with Wardlow. MJF ended up saying that he doesn't look to be in a good mood after losing to Jericho at All Out. So he ends up saying that he feels like there is bias against him because everybody in the back wants to beat him. He went on to say that he beat Jericho 3 times. So MJF ended up ripping on Cincinnati. He ended up calling Cincinnati the Midwest because everything is mid. So he then ends up taking shots at the Skyline Chili and also the Cincinnati Reds. He ends up saying that if they have a problem, why doesn't anybody jump the guardrail? So that if anybody jumps the guardrail, he can beat everyone up. He ends up saying that they won't because they're all cowards. So MJF then ended up drawing his attention to Aunt Linda and the rest of Brian Pillman Jr.'s family. So MJF goes over to Brian Pillman's daughter and making fun of her looks. So we had Brian Pillman Jr. end up coming out. And of course, that's Brian Pillman Jr.'s family that's in there. And he didn't appreciate MJF trash talking about his hometown, because this was in his hometown, and also his family. He was saying that he knows MJF had a silver spoon upbringing, but where he's from, it's a city that breeds badasses, like Jon Moxley, and his father, Brian Pillman, the late Brian Pillman. So Brian Pillman Jr. was like to MJF, "Welcome to the jungle." So then MJF ended up telling Brian Pillman Jr., if you want to go head to head. So he brings up Brian Pillman Jr.'s meth addicted mother, and Brian Pillman Jr. went right into the ring. He ran into the ring after MJF ended up saying that. And then Wardlow ended up getting in Pillman Jr.'s way. So MJF ended up wondering if Wardlow is going to help him, like he did on Sunday. So MJF ended up telling Wardlow to get to the corner and just look pretty. So MJF ended up saying that Brian Pillman Jr.'s mother should have aborted him. And so Pillman ended up attacking MJF. Wardlow was just standing there a little bit in the corner with his head down. And then he saw Pillman end up throwing shots at MJF. Wardlow ended up helping. Pillman ended up getting away. He ended up landing a few shots in the corner until Wardlow ended up knocking him down. Griff Garrison ended up running out. But then as Griff Garrison came into the ring, we had Wardlow end up laying Griff Garrison out. So then MJF then ended up hitting Griff Garrison with the diamond ring. So Pillman ended up getting the way to keep MJF away from Griff Garrison. And then we had the crowd end up chanting to MJF, "You tapped out." And that was that. So overall, it was a decent segment with MJF and Brian Pillman Jr. So then we had Ruby Soho versus Jamie Hayter. Ruby Soho making her a Dynamite debut. And we had Jamie Hayter end up coming out along with, of course, Britt Baker and Rebel. So the match started off with Jamie Hayter keeping Ruby down. And Ruby ended up working on Jamie Hayter's shoulder. Ended up delivering shots to Hayter's chest. So Hayter ended up trying to go for a pump kick. And Soho ended up catching it. Ended up delivering a kick to Jamie Hayter's face. So we had Jamie Hayter. Later on, she was continuing to beat up on Ruby Soho. Soho ended up whipping Hayter into the corner. She ended up flipping over Hayter and ended up sending Hayter into the second turnbuckle. So Soho ended up throwing a kick to the back of Hayter's head. Started delivering some more kicks to Hayter. So at the end of the match, we had Ruby Soho delivered a kick to Jamie Hayter. Went for the cover. And there you go. Ruby Soho ended up win the match. Post-match, Britt Baker and Rebel end up coming in, end up attacking on Soho. And then Rio ends up running out. Jamie Hayter ended up getting a hold of Riho, end up lifting up Riho and dropping her. Britt Baker was going to do the stomp on Soho down on the Women's World Championship. And Chris Statlander, the alien Chris Statlander, end up coming out with a chair, end up clearing out the ring. So Baker, Rebel, and Jamie Hayter end up getting out of the ring, want nothing to do with Statlander. So we had Statlander end up raising up Soho's arm, and that was that. But overall, this was a pretty decent women's match from Ruby Soho and Jamie Hayter. Soho, of course, her Dynamite debut last night. And then we have Brian Cage. Brian Cage ended up asking Ricky Starks if he's sick and tired of all this. He ended up saying that he wants Starks to cut the crap and let's have a one-on-one match. Starks ended up saying that Brian Cage is going to find out why they call him Absolute Ricky Starks. So we're going to be getting another rematch with them, Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. So then we had a backstage interview with the Dark Order. So the Dark Order ends up arguing. You know, we're seeing like the little cracks of probably the breakup of the Dark Order. And Anna Jay end up stepping up. Anna Jay ended up saying that they are a family and they need to act like it. So she was there along with Tay Conti. So that was that. So little by little, we're seeing little cracks in the Dark Order. And then we had Shawn Spears and FTR versus John Silver, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson. This was a trios match. This was a pretty good trios match here. The match started off with Silver and Grayson. They were tagging in and out as the match ended up getting started. John Silver was overpowering on Shawn Spears, ended up running Spears over. Grayson got in there. He was taken down by Shawn Spears and FTR. So we had Stu Grayson end up delivering a Pele kick, which brought in Evil Uno. Evil Uno ended up lifting Spears. Grayson then delivered a elbow drop off the top rope onto Spears. Went for the cover. Spears ended up kicking out at 2. Evil Uno ended up sending Shawn Spears into the corner. He offered to tag in Silver, which he did. So the Dark Order were taunting to each other. They went for the cover, and Spears ended up kicking out at 2. So we had a chant for Colt Cabana from the crowd. At the end of the match, John Silver ended up trying to keep up the momentum in the match, but Shawn Spears ended up delivering the Death Valley Driver to John Silver, and he went for the cover. And there you go. FTR and Shawn Spears ended up winning the match. Post-match, Evil Uno ended up getting in John Silver's face. Evil Uno was yelling at Silver. Silver ended up shoving Evil Uno. Grayson delivered a kick to Silver's head. And a bunch of the other guys in the Dark Order were fighting. Tay Conti and Anna Jay end up coming out. And that was that. So, little by little, cracks are starting to show with the breakup of the Dark Order. But overall, it was a pretty good trios match, in my opinion. So then we saw a video package. It was hyping up Anna Jay, Tay Conti versus the Bunny and Penelope Ford. Jade Cargill ended up saying that she learned at the Women's Casino Battle Royal to not trust anyone. Thunder Rosa ended up saying that she was heartbroken at coming so close to winning that All Out, but she won't stop fighting. So it was a little video package of that. And then we went to Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone was backstage. He ended up talking to Tully Blanchard, and Tully Blanchard ended up calling out Sting and Darby Allin. Tully Blanchard ended up saying that he wants Shawn Spears versus Darby Allin next week on Dynamite. He also ended up saying that there will be a time when he and Sting meet again in the ring. So that was what Tully Blanchard had to say. And then it was announced that it's going to be the Varsity Blondes versus the Acclaimed this Friday on Rampage. So that's something to look forward to on Rampage tomorrow night. So then we had the Elite. The Elite ended up coming out to the ring. Tony Schiavone was in there. So the Elite all made their way out. Don Callis ended up getting on the mic. He ended up promoting Kenny Omega to take the number 1 spot in the PWI 500. Callis ended up saying that the tag team titles were stolen from the Young Bucks on Sunday, and that they have a plan to get them back. So Nick Jackson then got on the mic. He ended up saying, speaking of getting things back, he ended up introducing Adam Cole. So Adam Cole, new member of the Elite. He's always been with the Elite. I mean, the Bucks, Kenny Omega are, his best friends. So Adam Cole ended up making his way out, got a pop from the crowd. Everybody did Adam Cole, baby. So Adam Cole got on the mic. He ended up saying, it's story time with Adam Cole. And then Adam Cole ended up going over to Tony Schiavone because he knows that Tony Schiavone is friends with his girlfriend, Britt Baker. So Adam Cole then said to Tony Schiavone that if Schiavone even looks at Britt Baker weird, he will whoop his ass. So he then ended up kicking Tony Schiavone out of the ring. He was like, get out of the ring, nerd. So Adam Cole ended up saying that AEW is the greatest wrestling company in the world. And it's only because of the Elite. Adam Cole ended up saying that he may be new here, but he's shown for 14 years he's a once-in-a-generation wrestler, and that he's with the best. He ended up saying that the Young Bucks are the greatest tag team of all time. He ended up saying that Kenny Omega is a once-in-a-lifetime wrestler. He ended up saying now the Elite has Adam Cole, baby. So Adam Cole ended up announcing that he's going to make his AEW in-ring debut next week on Dynamite, which is going to be in Jersey. It's going to be from Prudential Center. So Kenny Omega then ended up getting on the mic. He ended up saying that one thing he hates is being interrupted. So then Brian Danielson ended up coming out. Omega ended up asking his guys if he could have the ring and asked Bryan Danielson to come to the ring. Omega ended up saying that he's the guy he really wanted to see. He really wanted to see Bryan Danielson. And when Bryan Danielson made his way into the ring, we had yes chants from the crowd. So Danielson ended up snatching the mic. Danielson ended up asking the fans if they want to see him go one-on-one with Kenny Omega, which the fans end up popping. And Kenny Omega ended up saying to Bryan Danielson that it doesn't work like that here. So Bryan ended up saying that Omega isn't taking the match because he knows Bryan is better than him and that he's not on his level. So Omega took his jacket off. He ended up going to swing at Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson ended up dodging him. He ended up going to lock in a submission. The Elite all came in, ended up attacking him. You got useless Brandon Cutler spraying the cold spray on Bryan Danielson, which, is funny. But the Elite end up attacking Bryan Danielson. And then we had the Jurassic Express and Christian Cage end up coming out to make the save. The Elite all went out on the floor. Luchasaurus ended up launching Marco Stunt down on the Bucks. And we had Brandon Cutler, who was the only guy left in the ring. And of course, Bryan Danielson ended up delivering the running knee to Brandon Cutler, sent Cutler out of the ring. Brandon Cutler, absolutely useless member in the Elite. All he's known for is spraying cold spray on Omega and the Bucks and just filming. Well, what's going on with the Elite? Why is he there? Why is Brandon Cutler there? He's absolutely useless in the Elite. But anyways, this was a decent segment here. Really liked it. Adam Cole making his Dynamite debut, and also Bryan Danielson. So, pretty cool segment. Enjoyed it. Glad that Adam Cole is now back with his best friends in the Bucks and Omega. And then they went down what we're going to see tomorrow night on Rampage. We're going to finally get the match. Andrade El Idolo versus Pac. So that's going to be a very good match there. Looking forward to it. Even though that match should have taken place at All Out if Pac didn't have travel issues, with him being in the UK and, the whole COVID travels. We could have got that match, like I said, at All Out. But we're seeing it tomorrow night on Rampage. And then we're going to have Max Caster of The Acclaimed. He's going to be taking on Brian Pillman Jr. Of course, we're going to get that match. Darby Allin and Sting are going to respond to Tully Blanchard. And we're going to have Ruby Soho, Rio, and Chris Statlander versus Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Rebel. Oh, God, here we go. I'm going to have to sit through another match with Rebel in it. God, Rebel is absolutely fucking terrible. And I got to sit through another match with her in it. She's going to botch her way through that match. Please keep Rebel out of the ring. I don't know why they keep putting her in the ring. We all know she's terrible. We all know she's absolutely awful when she's in the ring. She's a good manager for Britt Baker, but in the ring, she is absolutely fucking terrible. Keep Rebel out of the ring. We're gonna have to sit through another match with her in it tomorrow. And then they went over what we're going to see next week on Dynamite, which is going to be from Prudential Center in Jersey. We're going to have Adam Cole make his in-ring debut on Dynamite against Frankie Kazarian, which Kazarian ended up attacking Adam Cole when that brawl ensued in that segment with the Elite and Bryan Danielson, where we had Luchasaurus end up coming down. Frankie Kazarian ended up taking out Adam Cole there. So we're going to see, like I said, Adam Cole versus Frankie Kazarian. It's going to be entertaining. Jade Cargill is going to face Layla Hirsch. Obviously, Jade Cargill is going to win. They're going to keep building up Jade Cargill. And I keep on saying it. Jade Cargill, without a doubt, after Britt Baker, or hell, even Ruby Soho. If Ruby Soho defeats Britt Baker, because Ruby Soho won the Women's Casino Battle Royal, and whoever won the Casino Battle Royal, which was Ruby Soho, they would get a match with Britt Baker for the AEW Women's World Championship. Even if Ruby Soho defeats Britt Baker, I think after maybe Britt Baker, she retains, or Ruby Soho, after them, Jade Cargill will be your new AEW Women's World Champion. That's my prediction. So we're going to be seeing that match next week on Dynamite. Jade Cargill, in my opinion, is going to win that. And we're going to have Darby Allin versus Shawn Spears. So that's another good match there. Darby Allin, I have to say, is going to possibly win that match. And then they went over what we're going to see at Grand Slam, which is going to be in 2 weeks from Arthur Ashe Stadium in Queens, here in New York. We're going to be getting the rematch, Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black. So will Cody Rhodes end up picking up a win? We'll have to wait and see. But I do know in my head, Malachi Black is going to get another win over Cody Rhodes. And then we had the main event. Minoru Suzuki versus Jon Moxley. This is the first time I've seen Minoru Suzuki in the ring. As I say, he's a very good wrestler. I don't watch New Japan, but after what I saw here, he's a pretty awesome wrestler here, Suzuki. So we had Suzuki end up coming out first, and then Moxley made his way out through the crowd. Of course, Wild Thing playing. So we had the crowd chanting, "This is awesome," as the match started off with Moxley and Suzuki throwing shots at each other. So we had some strikes from both of them as they made their way to the floor. Suzuki got the upper hand. He was working on Moxley. Both Suzuki and Moxley ended up getting back to the ring. Moxley ended up picking up some momentum. He delivered the brainbuster to Suzuki, went for the cover, and Suzuki ended up kicking out. Moxley then ended up throwing a chop to Suzuki in the corner, and Suzuki ended up delivering a kick to Moxley's face. Suzuki then ended up going to try another kick to Moxley's face, but Moxley ended up reversing it. He was then biting Suzuki in the face, which was crazy. And Suzuki did it right back to him. Suzuki bit Moxley in the face also. So both ended up throwing a headbutt, and they both went down. Suzuki ended up going for the Gotch-style pile driver, but Moxley ended up delivering the back body drop to Suzuki. He ended up going right into the paradigm shift, and Suzuki was now busted open. Moxley ended up delivering a lariat on Suzuki, went for the cover, which Suzuki kicked out at 1. Moxley came back, delivered another lariat. Suzuki didn't go down, so Moxley ended up trying to go for a lariat again. Suzuki didn't go down. It didn't phase Suzuki. Suzuki then came back, delivered a single leg drop kick to Moxley. Suzuki then went for a rear naked choke, but Moxley ended up getting out of it. He ended up throwing a right hand at Suzuki. Suzuki now went down. Moxley delivered another paradigm shift, and he ended up getting the pin. So there you go. Moxley ended up winning the match. Overall, this was an awesome match. This was a good match, entertaining. Suzuki was good from the first time of me seeing him in the ring. Moxley, always awesome. And this was in his hometown of Cincinnati. So, of course, obvious he was going to get the win because it's his hometown. But post-match, Moxley ended up heading up into the stands. He was celebrating with the fans. He was, hyped up. And he was just walking around the whole stands. And he did that, and Dynamite went off the air. But overall, this was a good Dynamite. This was a good Fallout show from All Out. But really enjoyed the show. But anyways, that's it for my review of last night's Dynamite. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until next video, I'll see you all later.